So, hi everyone, I'm Fabien. I'll go basically, those are my notes on a arguably page of text with my magnificent handwriting. Hopefully it's good enough for me to actually go to read through it. I'll go through the who I am, you get a bit of this, why I'm doing all this, and I think some of you are also tinkering there. The what, the how. There might be, depending on the alignment of the stores, a live demo. But we'll see. I have video recordings just in case if it doesn't go the way I hope for. So I'm a prototypist. That's kind of my excuse to say I don't know how to write proper software. What really gets me going, honestly, which is also why an event like this is as exciting, as stressful, it will be the exchange of ideas. So when you will ask questions, when you will have even criticism, I'll go back thinking, yeah, that's actually good, I should implement this. And it creates a lot of tension because that's a little bit how I see prototyping. So I was this summer, so I'm French, I come from Brussels, so I come a little way across the pond indeed. And so that's in Dolomites, north of Italy. I was there this summer to hike a bit more. And to me, that's prototyping, namely that I hike. For the anecdotes also, some of you know, I went from Portland to here walking. That's what strange Europeans do, like instead of taking a cab or something, we just walk. So I really love it, even in strange contexts, let's say. But why to me it's an analogy for prototyping is I hike, I walk, I get there, so metaphorically through writing code, and then I get on top of a hill, and actually that hill uncovers so many more hills or mountains. So as you get there, as you make a prototype, you can see more things. And then you want to get there, and you make more prototype to get there. So it's kind of an adventure down a path. So basically, that's also another way to say, I don't know where I'm going. It's really a process. I'm going to show you a prototype, maybe live, maybe video of it. It doesn't matter. The prototype itself, I hope they're useful in their own right, but it's the process of trying to build something new and different that at least to me is valuable. So I could take the code, literally throw the laptop with the code in the river. I'm not going to do this, but it doesn't matter. It's how we learn as we do the thing. So the motivation behind it also is I take a lot of notes. So I have this here, I have on my laptop, I have a paper notebook, I have a stack of different notebooks. I think that what mostly keeps me sane, I hope so at least. And the more I write, the more ideas I get. The problem is how do you organize them? So organize is a little bit of a cold term, but anyway. How do you put them together? How do you classify them? How do you group them, put a hierarchy around it? And for the background story, 7 years ago, even more than this. So I tried the DK1 in Brussels, in a little pop-up shop for a big corporation. And my first thoughts, I was in Tuscany. Low res, but still in Tuscany somehow. And I'm going to be polite because this is recording, but I was thinking, whoa, oh, it's amazing. I'm somewhere else. And my second thought was I could put my notes everywhere in there. I could take a whiteboard, blackboard, all my paper, notebooks, everything I could put around. And then it fits in my backpack, I can travel with it. It's just, I was literally mind blown. That was incredible. And I think that's not just me. I think there are a lot of people that play with information, work with information, and feel, no matter how big the world is, we still feel constrained by it. And some of us also walk around, shake their hands. It's a bodily experience also. When you have something like this, I think the idea behind it is like, where do people think? Do you think on the paper? Do you think on the wall, on the board? Do you think with people through the interaction of it? And I think how we think is in space, basically. We're not just like an inanimate object in front of a slick, thin slice of plastic. We walk around. So that's the really stressful moment. Let's see if I can do this live. So in practice, all this also leads to not just a discussion about how fruitful, but possibly, so that's very tricky. Yes. So you let me know if you see something on the screen. There will be a couple of seconds of delay, I think.
There we go.
No, that's not right. So don't worry though, it's a bit of a teaser. Like if it doesn't work, there'll be actual demos this afternoon, so you don't have to watch me do it. You'll be able to try it yourself. I still want to. Ah, yes, okay. I had 3 extra minutes, right? Negotiating. And so, out of curiosity also, how many people here did try VR or AR? Like show of hands.
I think there's quite a bit of us here.
Yeah, but not everyone. So it's that's what I'm checking, because if you haven't tried VR, I suggest you do. You don't have to like it. You can actually hate. Just don't touch the headset. Do remove it if you don't like it. But do try, because no matter what you think you do understand, and you probably do understand on a very deep, yet it's still an abstract level. So I recommend if you do one thing today. Yes. Okay, you do see something, right?
There was something.
There was something. So you see, you do see something, but it's a black screen, so it's not exactly what I. Second chance, and otherwise I'll do the.
It's kind of amazing to watch you do this in real time, Fabien.
Yeah, it doesn't feel amazing when it doesn't work though.
I mean, that's why we call it research.
I mean, all the developers in the room know that the software works until you try to show it to somebody.
you did see it minutes ago, right? It was something?
Yeah.
It keeps flickering.
Yeah.
There we go.
Let's see, wait.
Feels
It's
like
just
it feels like it might be your core.
It's okay.
Come on. So what actually?
You want to show the video?
So it's
There we
yeah,
go.
but that's okay.
It's
So
your
yeah, I'll
head.
show the video.
It's your head.
So
Okay.
that's fine. That's fine. So you see my home a little bit, or my home office? Okay. So and now that will be much trickier actually. We'll go back a bit. Okay, so that's my home office. Because like all of us, I got a bit stuck during the pandemic. And what I had, let's say, a realization a couple of weeks ago. So VR, I think really do try it. VR, AR, put the headset on, even for a minute. But what happened is, I think we got a little bit scammed a couple of years ago when we got mobile phones. So you all have a phone, I guess. What's that? What are the little icons in there?
Applications.
Yes. No, there is no trick question. There is no trick question. They are apps. So apps are super convenient. They do roughly the things you want them to do. The problem is, the problem is usually they are, for security reasons at least, pretext, in my opinion, then you can't have files with the apps. We need to really fight for it. So I think historically speaking, for example, on the iPhone, the file browser was available 7 years after the phone was shipped. So that's, and it was not a technical problem, like people know how to do a file browser. So if it takes 7 years for a file browser to appear, to me that's a scam. To me that we need to access to those files. We need access to the data that we're basically generating. And basically, even if you don't know VR much, this and this are actually the same thing. There are lenses on the back, but overall, initially even you saw cardboard, you can slice in a cardboard your phone, and you basically have a low res, but still you have a VR headset, basically. So they're the same thing, and actually the operating systems are the same. This is running Android, exactly like half of the phone in the world are running, more or less. So it's the same thing, just the form factor is different. They do different things, but in practice, technically speaking, they're about equivalent. What do you install on a VR headset? Apps. And you don't have access to files again. You can if you're like super technologically savvy, but if you're a user, you don't have access to files. And the problem is a lot of the things we do when we work are through files. So if we don't have access to them, we're basically, yeah, it's a big problem. So that's been the kind of revelation the last couple of weeks or months, like, why don't we have access to files? We should be able to manipulate them. And that leads to this. So I'm in my office and I manipulate a file, that's it. That's the big idea. That's the concept. It's not extremely deep, and yet it works. Namely, I can bring now a PDF. I can manipulate it. I can have the images from the different page of that publication. I can extract a page and manipulate that page. I can go through the next and the previous page. I can manipulate the images that are out of it. There are different like opacity level if it's from the current page. So I go through this. You will be able to try it later today. Now the problem is, if you did try to read in a VR headset, I mean, do try, but it's not like paper, basically. It's an euphemism. It's bad. It's terrible. And well, at least I don't like it. It is changing, of course, as the curve of progress of the hardware goes up, the resolution and all. It's become feasible, but at least to me, it's not as enjoyable as, for example, this. I go to a cafe, I go sit down, I go to a library, a bookshop, and I'm going to read, sketch, etc. So basically, the idea was like, you try to bring files in and out, and you isolate. You don't want to be stuck basically in the headset. It's just one part of your workflow. So what I did there is I took a file, which represents the PDF there, and I drop it on that little zone on the side, and what happens is, as I browse through, yeah, okay, I show more files, and you can open different files. There are mine times. I'm going to explain a tiny bit on how it works. How long do I still have?
You don't have long. Yeah.
So,
Including dialogue.
okay, I will speak faster.
No, don't rush this. This is absolutely amazing. Okay, since you spoke to me, I'm going to say something. Just to highlight, those are real files in the headset, in your real world, which in a naive sense you would think is probably the easiest thing in the world, but for all the constraints Fabien was talking about, doesn't happen, right? But the fact that this is possible now, and Fabien, is this the bit where you do the special?
Well, yes.
This is so cool. I won't, you talk this.
Yes. So again, reading in the, it should be the bit at least. So we go through, we have also different post-it notes because you have annotations on top of it. It's not like a cold document that you need to accept. You can annotate the document. You also have links to say that's a note related to that document, that note is related to that note, and all this. You have also layouts. So then that was a big 3D model, but basically you can open a file that describes not the content, but the position of the content. So you have walls, the position of the wall in space, basically. And those things can be saved. So you can input files, and the files you output is the layout, the position of the knowledge objects in the room. But again, you don't necessarily want to be stuck in that 3D room, no matter how nice it might be. In my opinion, what's most useful is as one step in your workflow. It's just part of your process. It's not the entire process. Again, because you have other tools. So that's the bit where I drop the actual file on that target. And then you see the little blinking thing. It means the file has been received by the ebook reader. And then I can do, I think, the very important step. So I can compare also. It is the actual document there. So I'll go through it. But then the whole point will be you remove the headset after. You're not stuck in the headset. You're not supposed to spend longer than you want to. You do the part which I think is exciting, namely that you reshape the space around you with your document and your knowledge object. But then as soon as you have a structure that makes sense, let's say, for example, that's the one document I'm interested in, let's say from this list of proceedings, then it is there. I remove the headset and I can move on. And I can come back because I can save the layout. I can share the layout of those knowledge objects to someone else.
How amazing was that?
That was cool.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It is live. You'll have to trust me. No, don't trust me actually. Don't trust me. Come this afternoon. Try. That's why also I'm here. Literally, it's not to be in video. Is that you will be able to try and manipulate. Yeah.
Yeah. Super interesting. So one thing I find is this idea of recovering the memory palace that we have forgotten, and the idea of space relocating things.
Yes.
Feels more affordable for many people. But I feel like when I have interns and students, I do the folders and I put things here, right? But if you don't do that, nobody organizes anything anymore.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's just
Yeah.
like all in one folder and you just search, right? So, I don't know, it feels like you put clutter.
Yes. So.
And it's just a scattered comments.
No, it makes sense. It is actually good because some of us are a fan of memory palaces. I'm not. I'd honestly dislike it so much as it's not just for memorization, it's more for the structure behind it. If there is like hidden structure behind a set of documents, my intuition, let's say, is that through the motion, through manipulating those files, you're going to find the structure behind it. But it is indeed for you. You can share, let's say, how the spatial layout is going to be to someone else. Most likely, unless you do it in a form of like a way to communicate rather than, oh, that's the structure that makes sense for me, it might not make sense, it probably will not make sense for them.
I mean, if you're never gonna retrieve the information again, then you don't need to remember where you put it.
Yes.
Right? Which a lot of content is that
Yeah,
way.
yeah, 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 yeah. So I'll do a little bit the architecture on this. So the goal now, I wish I could tell you put any file you want in it. It's not true. You have quite a few, and I'll explain a little bit why. The why it's done is also because I'll show it briefly after, but it's all open source. So namely, if you tell me it's bad, I was going to say another worse word. If it's bad, help me fix it. Okay. If there is here in the list of files something that doesn't work for you, add it. It's I think relatively straightforward on how to do it. It's also something that if you are a developer this afternoon, and if you have a file format, we can also work on this to try to add it to the list. But the goal is indeed to address a bit more what you said is you put the files in. You do have outside either a document that you got out, like that would be the top of the stack, that's the next action in your list, like this is the document I must read. You can have the layout, so how all those documents are positioned. What I think is special about it, where I argue basically for it, is in the middle between the input and the output, you have this direct manipulation where you can take those files and put them in a structure in space that makes sense for you. Again, might be for nobody else. But the output then is you remove the headset and that file or that set of files, they are part of your workflow. Again, it can be managing bibliographic reference, it's really up to your workflow. And you can do so I do it with a hand, but I have with a pen, so you can also draw between the file, let's say an actual line between them. With a keyboard, because it's also a programmatic environment. Some of the text you saw, they were not labels. Well, the file names are labels, but otherwise it's code. So you manipulate with the right hand, and you execute with the left hand. Because if you have a dozen of documents or a few dozens of documents, if you need to do this, I mean, it's not fun. I don't recommend it. If you can do it programmatically, then hundreds or whatever, how many documents you want to. Yes, one example also of the demo is you can send to the Remarkable or to an e-reader. You can send to any device. This one is the one I like, but if you have a phone, you get like a live notification that you get the actual file itself, not a link to it, and then you can manipulate in PDF or layouts. And it's done live. So same, you'll try this afternoon if you want to. That's the actual code. If you're not a programmer, don't worry, it's actually straightforward. No, but it's true. That's the only not joke. But the thing is, you basically take a file and you convert it, because on your laptop or desktop or whatnot, you have a bunch of software that only knows how to do this. So it's going to do this and cascade. So briefly, that means
10 seconds.
10 seconds. I'll show you this after.